Talam Jimba to come and give the welcome. I was thinking VCU declared this year as the year of ZK Matthews. And as I was thinking about this event this evening, I wondered to myself, what kind of research would ZK Matthews be doing if he were around? For those of us sitting in this room, those that are getting awards, are you doing research that is relevant to your times? And I think that is what our DVC Research Partnerships and Innovation wants to see, that we're not just publishing papers, that we're having an impact on our communities. And I think it is fitting, therefore, to keep thinking about that when we think about this as the year of ZK Matthews. Dr. Talam Jimba, would you come and welcome your guests?
Good evening, Molweni. The energy. I hope the music will get the levels a bit up as we proceed. Yes, my task is a very simple one this evening, and that it is to welcome you. And in doing so, I just want to greet all of you, but I also want to acknowledge special people in our midst. Yes, we are an African university, and therefore we do things the African way. And I'm going to start by acknowledging the Chief Makinana among us. Welcome and greetings, our dear Chief. And thanks again for always supporting our events and just ensuring that you are always there for us. We really appreciate. We see you and we really appreciate. I also want to acknowledge the following people. The Mayor of Raymond Mhlaba, if you can just show your hand, if you're around, not yet arrived. Municipal Manager of Raymond Mhlaba, thank you very much. The Speaker, thank you very much. And then Councillor, Raymond Mhlaba Councillor, thank you very much. And then BCM, Municipal Manager, they're here. Okay, maybe they're still coming. Thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge, of course, the presence of our host, the Vice-Chancellor of this university, Professor Sakela Plungu. Are you here? MEC members, deans, deputy deans, heads of department that are here, extended management team members who are present here, SRC members. SRC, are you here? Yes, of course. And then again, thanking you for the role that you have played throughout the week in ensuring that we get the kind of participation and the numbers that we needed from students. Thank you very much. We really appreciate. You know the conversation that we were having the other day about the name Aphelele. And I was saying, when I grow up, I will have a son, and the son will be called Aphelele, so that they can be the president of the SRC of the University of Hare. You know, our previous SRC president was also Aphelele, so yeah, I think I want to go along that route, when I grow up. I also want to acknowledge and welcome in a special way all the researchers that are present here, and in particular the nominees of various awards. And as we will see as we proceed, and obviously there will be winners. But I just want to say up front, everyone who was nominated is a winner. So thank you very much. You're welcome. And we also have in our midst collaborating researchers from 2 African countries. And I just want them to acknowledge, to call them by name, and they will raise their hands so that we welcome them in a special way. Before I do that, the university is currently drafting what we call the internationalization strategy. And at the core of that strategy is the identification of partners across the world who are going to help us and be at the core of our partnerships. And we have said, as the University of Hare, we remain African, and therefore when you talk about partnerships and collaborations, African countries will be core to what we are doing. And I'm very pleased that today and during this whole week, the Research Week of Excellence, we were having academics and visitors from 2 African countries, namely Uganda and Rwanda. That is a big deal. We have Professor Mugwesi, who is the principal of Makerere University Business School. Please raise your hand if you are here. They are not yet here. Okay. Let me also mention Miss Nicola Mwanga, who is a lecturer at the same university. Are you here? Where are the visitors? Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Miss Maureen from lecturer there as well at Makerere University. There she is. We also have Professor Borogo Rosa, an associate professor in management from the same Makerere University Business School. Please raise your hand. Right. And then we have Dr. Ronald Kwena, who is the Director of Postgraduate Studies from the University of Kigali in Rwanda. Are you there? Welcome. There's also, yes, I've mentioned Professor Ogorogoza. Thank you very much. You are welcome in this university. And now talking directly to colleagues from Uganda. When we count 5 presidents of Africa who are the alumni of this university, President Yusuf Lul is always mentioned, who was, for a very short time, a president in Uganda. I don't know why it was just, I think it was for 3 months. It was just for a short time, less than 6 months. Nonetheless, he is still named the president, former ex-president. Of course, he passed on. I think it was in the 80s. He passed on. And we are very proud that we had him here as one of the African leaders who walked in this very campus those early days. When I looked at his, I quickly Googled him a few hours ago, and I saw that he studied here around 1930-something, 36-something, but he was born in 1912. So he studied here between 1936 and 1939. So we have that history between yourselves and us. So it's proper that we continue that collaboration between the University of Fort Hare and Makerere University. Again, once more, welcome to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this week, the 2024 Week of Excellence, which happened in the year that has been declared the Z.K. Matthews year, was very special in many aspects. And I think we can really applaud you and our, as the community of the University of Fort Hare for what you have been doing over the years in ensuring that you uphold the values of this university when it comes to research excellence. And of course, supported by a very able team of RPI, the Department of Research and Innovation, International Office, Postgraduate Studies, as well as the library. Are you there, RPI people? The four directors, Dr. Nika in the Research and Innovation space, the acting director, Professor Nyodo in the postgraduate and postdoctoral fellow space, as well as, he's not here, the new Director of International Affairs, Professor Leach. And lastly, Dr. Dikonelo Biso, who is the director of our libraries. Those are the people who ensure that they give the support that's needed in the space. And I need to actually acknowledge them and welcome them to this event in a special way. I also want to welcome and acknowledge the work that has been done by the steering committee as well as the logistics committee who ensured that everything is done properly. So welcome, colleagues. This is going to be an evening full of fun, and I invite you to relax and enjoy. There's no PowerPoint presentation from me this year. We are just taking it easy, enjoying and recognizing you as the winners of research in this university, research and innovation in this university. Thank you very much.
Dr. Taulem Jimba called the Vice-Chancellor a host, and I decided to look up what a host is, VC, in the dictionary. I'm going to leave out one definition. Or maybe I should read both. The one that I have chosen says it is a person who receives or entertains guests socially, commercially, or officially. The one that I have decided not to talk much about is an animal or a plant, which is a parasite. So I think the most appropriate one, VC, is that you are a person who receives and entertains guests. Would you kindly come and entertain your guests?
Thank you very much once again. We meet what to or in what has become an annual calendar event of the university, the Vice-Chancellor's Research Awards. Today, we gather in very elegant fashion. I mean, if you look around, it is very, I mean, you don't get to see this often at Fort Hare. I think the BBC has got style. Let's give all of you a good round of applause. Thank you very much. Just to go back to Z.K. Matthews, to recall Z.K. Matthews in this 100th year of his graduation. Z.K. Matthews entered the university when it was founded in 2016. And 2016 there were 20 young people.
There was no residence for the women. That's why she fell off the cracks, fell through the cracks at times. But there were 20. It's been a long time since then. And of course, in those days, this was a university college. It was a college, a college.
Allowed both streams. And as a result, the first graduates and first graduation was in 1924. It was an elegant affair, it was a grand affair to celebrate the graduation of two people. And speeches were made, and a procession was held, and celebrations were held, and the guests were entertained. Professor Smith, they were entertained for two people. Mr. Nwana came to receive a diploma, and Z.K. Matthews came to receive a BA degree. And in the tradition of Z.K. Matthews, and that one moment, we continued to produce professionals for 100 years, or to graduate professionals for 100 years. So I thought I would say this before we do anything. So we decided then to celebrate Z.K. Matthews, to celebrate him. I've greeted Chief Makinani. I want to greet also other guests, honored guests, and I'm not going to go by name because Dr. Taule has done the honors there. But we're very proud to be associated.
And as I'm mentioning that point, I should also say that we have a very robust water research component in the university and a research center in the university, and which has been very actively engaged with surrounding communities, Matola ADM, or rather Matola Water Board, and so on and so forth. So we're part of this community. We're very proud. We're very proud. I see other people from the communities around. I'm not going to single you out. Thank you very much. But then let me acknowledge my colleagues here, members of the MEC, Dr. Taule, Dr. Shatse, Shigudu, and others who are not able to make it today. Let me acknowledge the deans. The deans are sitting at this table. The deans are part of the mix, part of the ingredient that makes research happen. The research happens in faculties, it happens in academic departments, it's done by academics, lecturers, senior lecturers, associate professors, and professors. So on that note, I would like to greet all the professors, the lecturers, associate professors, and senior lecturers who are here. And I imagine many of them are going to be receiving awards. Of course, let me greet all the support services staff who are here. Let me greet our friends who are here. Let me greet, of course, the students I can see at this side as well. And not just the SRC, I can see others. So the weather is beautiful outside, as you can see. Imini vumile. Yeah, ivumile. Kodwa ke nigoduke kwangoko kuzawubanda izulu. The reason for us to have this event is not just that we want to come and have nice food and have a nice setting, such as we have. Yes, we'd like the thing, because to celebrate people, we must raise the bar. And Taule Mjimba has done everything, pulled all the stops to make this happen. I've never seen this venue look this elegant, but today it is. It's because we want to really do everything to acknowledge the researchers. I'm told that today the awards that are going to be given out are the Emerging Researcher Awards. I think several people will be awarded there. Senior Research Awards, the Creative Outputs Award, one award, Most Innovative Prototype Developed Award, the Book Award, and of course, acknowledgement of recognition of newly rated, NRF-rated researchers. And very significantly, the launch of the research report. The launch of the research report. So it's going to be a great evening. It's going to focus on what make us what we are, and how these academics make us what we are, how they make us look good, how they make us look good to the world, not just amongst ourselves, but out there. But most importantly, every university that's worth its salt should have a serious research footprint. That's how we attract students. That's how students are trained. That's the basis on which we train students. We train them for their first degrees, but very significant for postgraduate degrees. And that's why this year, yet again, we produced a very rich crop of doctoral graduates, both in April and now more recently in October. As we discuss this, there are some milestones that we need to celebrate. There's several milestones which we'll celebrate. But before I get into that, I should just map out something very significant that has happened last year and this year. We have revisited and revised the organogram of the university. In other words, what positions we have. And on the academic side, we're filling all the vacant academic positions. But more than that, we've added new academic positions. And those are distributed, new ones are distributed across all faculties. So during this season, we are recruiting 87 academics, 87 academics. And it's like what they do in the army. It's like military operation, the way it's been run. It's been run and chaired and coordinated by the DVC Teaching and Learning Professor Renuka Vital, working with Dr. Taula Jimba, working with the deans. And I believe that already more than 30 academics have been appointed, and some of them have landed already. But we expect more to land before the end of the year and early in the new year. So we're going to see, and what I'm seeing and what I've been told is that this process has enabled us to diversify even further our academic echelon of the university. So in other words, we have people coming from all over the world, from all over the country, all over the province, all over the continent. And so once again, it's going to be an opportunity for us to deepen and enrich diversity, but very importantly, also to diversify the research experience or research experiences of our academics, and therefore to extend and expand the networks, collaboration networks that we have as a university. Not only collaborating in the province, in the country, on the continent. We've heard the colleagues here from Hare University Business School. They're here and work with Professor Smatele and Professor Chinyamurindi, and they're here. Let's give them a round of applause. And of course, we also have, and to greet the colleague from the University of Kigali, who is also here, who also collaborates with our academics, is here. So it's a very important opportunity for us to do this, to celebrate, and that. I should have started with this, but I deliberately didn't want that to overshadow today, because that's what we are today, we are about today. We kicked off the week on Monday with what we now call Research Week. We kicked off on the week with the Research Week welcoming event and then of course the conference until today. And I'm told that the final session was a big hit this afternoon. The women's, what was it called? Nobody was there. Nobody was there. There was a session of women in the academy or something to that effect. And apparently it was a great success, and I met very enthusiastic and very inspired delegates coming out. And of course, we had to do the mandatory selfies so that I could show off that I also came from the women's session and so on. I'm also encouraged that discussions from that workshop were not just about or rather from that last session, were not just about research, but also about the position of women in the university, both women staff and women students. And I was told, and I wasn't told not to say this, but there's an idea of launching the first women's forum at the University of Hare. And that's, and I was told this, and I was not told not to say it. So, I said I look forward to being an honorary member of the Women's Forum. So I'll wait for the form to be sent to me. So we have this growth of the academic echelon, but what is also very important, as I was talking about diversity, last year at this point, when we gathered in like this, about 46% of our academics had PhD as their highest qualification, 46%, and the rest did not. And I'm told that to this year, partly the result of new recruits coming in, but also partly because academics already here have been doing PhD studies, the figure has now risen to 62%. I'll go with the lower figure, 62%. So we can now brag and say, and 62% in the sector, higher education sector, especially public universities, is a very high number. We're part of the top 20% of institutions. We're part of the top 20%. Some big institutions have 50%, maybe 55%. So to have 66% is really serious achievements. And we owe it to the deans who've been pushing people to do their doctoral study We owe it to the DVCs who have been pushing this figure. I should also add, though, that there's one thing, just in case people think, oh, now I can apply for the 87 positions. 2 years ago, we adopted a new policy at Senate, a new position, let me put it that way, at Senate. We said that at the University of Fort Hare, if you want to be an academic, there are two things, there are two ways in which you will make it. Either you must already have a PhD, which is fine, or you must be registered for one. We're going to do a road show before the end of the year and do kind of a check, a spot check, by faculty. If you, I'm not going to do it, sorry, I'm not going to do it. But someone will be going there with a notepad and a pen and say, how many? Do you have a PhD? No, I'm still thinking of registering. They're going to say, the road's out, the gate is out that way. I won't be doing it, fortunately, so I'll spare that. Program Director, just as I conclude, I want once again to say that one of the things that mark or signal what we do by way of research at the university is relevance. The research that we do speaks to the needs of this area, this region, this province, and this country. And I don't have the time now, but when the research report is tabled, and when you get copies of the report, you will see the kind of the breadth and spread of the research and how it touches on things that are about people and people's lives. And we do this across the fields. And I'm very glad also that the 4, 5 research niche areas have taken root and they're beginning to drive research. They're beginning to drive research. And I do know that, I can't say them off the top of my head, Professor Smatele, but I'm sure they will be projected there, the research niche areas, you will see. They will also be in the research report. But it's about water, it's about economies, township economies, it's about generation of electricity and power generally. It's about, or rather energy, I should say, and there are several others, which I don't want to get into now. So I'm very pleased to be part of this university now, and I'm also very pleased, and I'll say this because this is the bigger message. For us to be productive as researchers, as academics, we need stability. We need stability. We need stability. You cannot conduct research and compete with universities, both in the country and abroad, where there's interruption of research time, where there's interruption of teaching and learning time. And one of the things that we as administrators, and I'm putting myself this side, is to ensure and facilitate and create a conducive environment for researchers to do their work. And we do this in various ways. We do this by making sure that we collaborate, we negotiate, we sit down with the various stakeholders and make sure that all issues, all grievances are addressed. We sit with the SRC, we discuss things. We have agreed, there's a compact that we have, that if there's an issue, let's sit down and talk about it. And the Fort Hare that you used to know, I should repeat this, the University of Fort Hare that you used to know, that was unstable, that was marked by crisis and chaos and money issues and water interruption and all of those kind of things, and that is the university of the past. We're never going to go there again. And in achieving or reaching that goal, it's not because we've done magic, it's because we've talked to people. And I'm very pleased to see former SRC presidents here. President Ngenge, you're here in the House. President Martinez, you're here in the House. And I can't see the others here, but we've worked with them. And I'm very proud that working with them, we've worked with them to build young leaders who appreciate the core business of the university. that it doesn't help. I've always said to them, if you go into the street and burn things down, you're reducing the weight of your qualification. The weight of your qualification is based on the stability and public perceptions of the stability that the institution enjoys. The more instability, the less the weight. When you go into the job market, you'll always be put at the end of the line. And when your chance comes up, they'll ask you, where are you from? That's what used to happen in the old days. Once you mention the university, they say, okay, please go and wait outside or go and wait at home. They don't do that anymore. Our students now get jobs overseas. First time applicants, they get jobs overseas. They get intentions across the country. They excel in postgraduate studies. Finally, and let me put this because it's part of that mix of developing excellence. Excellence is something that takes time to build. It takes time to build. It's painful. Some would even say it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient because it removes you from your comfort zone. Just one comfort zone, and I'll sit down. One comfort zone that we've exploded in the last 5-6 years was to say that people who supervise need to be at a specific level in terms of their credentials to supervise. And then we went on to say that the external examination of a doctoral degree cannot be supervised by people from the same institution, from the same province, from the same country, from the same continent. So today, if you think of doing a PhD, think seriously because here we're serious. If you're doing a doctoral degree, there's 3 supervisors going to examine your doctoral degree. You can't have 2 from the African continent. There must be 1 from a different continent. And that means the time of intellectual or academic inbreeding is over. You're not going to get your buddies to pass your students. That's done. And we're very proud that the students that have been coming through, the doctoral candidates that have been coming through, have come through that very narrow eye of the needle. That very narrow eye of the needle have excelled at a very high level, and we're very proud. But most importantly, they've excelled because of great researchers who are at the forefront of knowledge production. And we're going to see and witness that tonight, and we're here to celebrate, we're here to acknowledge and validate these people. The validation must come here, not from outside. Thank you very much, and all the best.
I'd like to invite our musicians. I can't see them. The musicians. While they come, I just want to thank the VC for that address that he's given to us. Thank you very much, VC. And with that, I would also like to thank, through you, the rest of MEC and all the administrators that support us. You talked about the research niche areas. I think that if the infrastructure or the framework for setting them up had never been done, we probably wouldn't have been able to achieve the things that we have achieved. So I think from myself and from the other researchers, Dr. Talimba, I would like to thank you for what you do to support research within the university. And particularly from our research area, let me take, I like to take advantage of where I am. So I just want to thank you because a few weeks ago you linked us with a researcher in Netherlands who you met somebody and you just wrote an email and said this would be of interest. And that person today was one of the people that presented in a colloquium. So it's not just the big monies that you are bringing in, but you're also thinking about the network networks and linking. I'm sure I'm not the only one. The other researchers have benefited from that as well. So DVCs, thank you for supporting research. And now, away from all the serious stuff, we're going to enjoy the music.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having us here. My name is Miso Mchali from the music department, an ethnomusicologist. I'm with a band here from drums, Lunga Kweva, our former student who will graduate next year with his honors on drums. Yes, this is Nkosi Nkabi, our former student as well. He's coming back to finish next year, otherwise I'm cutting him out. It's Mr. Bodelela Mavuso on piano, who's our jazz lecturer. Today, as we are African University, we are going to fuse a Western instrument with African instrument. This is umakweyana string bow from KwaZulu, which was used to play by Boko. Thank you. Jelano bobo wachaliza nusu kuti zayana ziyabonga. Sisi jelano bongo achaliza nusu kuti amagozi ayabonga. Jelano bongo achaliza ngo ukuthi zinyanya ziyabonga. Ejelani bongo achelizanu suguti zangoma ziyabonga zona ziyabonga Zona ziyabonga, zona ziyabonga, ewo ziyabonga.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Another round of applause to the band. Thank you. After that excellent music, I would now like to invite the Vice-Chancellor and the DVC RPI to come to the front, and those who will be assisting us with the awards, please. The cameraman. Thank you very much. Thank you. Would now like to move to the awards, the VC's Awards, which is the centerpiece of this evening's event. And we are going to start with the Emerging Researcher Awards. We are going to start with the Emerging Researcher Awards, and we will start with the faculty winners. And we will start with the Faculty of Education, and the faculty winner is Dr. Sive Makeleni. Dr. Makeleni. Okay. Dr. Makeleni. And now, from the Faculty of Health Sciences, we have Dr. Ntombana Hala. Okay, our next awardee is Dr. Ntandoyenkosi Ndlovu from the Faculty of Law. awardee, our next awardee is Dr. Vongai Ruzungude from Management and Commerce. Thank you very much. And our next awardee is Dr. L.E. Makenyane from Social Sciences. Just 1 minute. I just need to make. So we have 2 awardees from the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities. These were a tie. So both of them are going to be awarded. So we have Dr. L.E. Makenyane and Dr. K. Schmidt. Thank you. Okay, and now we are going to award the overall winner for the Emerging Researcher Awards. And our winner is Dr. Sisenko Kumalo from Social Sciences and Humanities. Where's the recipient? Dr. Sisenko is not here?
Hare from Science and Agriculture.
Oh, okay. Okay, my apologies. I skipped Science and Agriculture. Must be the milk outside. Dr. Humphrey Tamaga is the faculty winner. Dr. Humphrey Tamaga. I just want to check, is Dr. Kumalo here? Dr. Siseko Kumalo? Not here. Okay, not here. All right, thank you. We'll now move on to Senior Researcher Awards. And I will start with the faculty winners as well. And from the Faculty of Education, we have Prof. MP Mavuso. Prof. Mavuso. Faculty of Health Sciences. Am I allowed to say management and commerce? Prof. Lizelle Silius. To the Faculty of Science and Agriculture, Professor Omobola Oko. And now, for our overall winner in the Senior Research Awards category, Professor Ochenodo. To category C. We are now moving to category C, which is Innovation and Creative Output Awards. This is our new category, DVC? Yes. 2 years ago. Okay. We have the most creative output winner, and it is from music. It is Mr. Machalin Dumiso, most creative output development. Social Science and Humanities. The DVC has just confirmed that Mr. Ndumiso is the very first recipient of the Creative Output Award. And next, we are going to award Mr. Vuyo Masabe for the most innovative prototype developed. A prototype developed is the medicinal product in indigo medicine. Mr. Vuyo Masabe. to go to the book award. And our winner this year for the book award, and I think last year they were acknowledged, but this is the first winner in this category, I think, as well. I think this is also the first winner in this category. Yes, yes. There was no, we acknowledged, but there was no winner, yeah. Oh, okay. So I just waited so that there's anticipation in the room. Our winner is Professor Neil Roos. Thank you very much. Just to give you a break, we'll let you sit down and we'll call you back in a moment. Yes, thank you very much. We are now just going to have one item of music so that we can give the DVC and the VC a small break. But I think as we invite the musicians to the front, it's quite interesting to note that out of the people that were awarded this evening, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are deans. So I think that's very impressive. you very much. We are now going to invite the Vice-Chancellor and the DVC back. Sorry for the exercise. At this point, we want to acknowledge our newly rated NRF researchers, newly NRF-rated researchers rather. I think increasing the number of NRF-rated researchers speaks to the many things that the Vice-Chancellor and the DVC also spoke to about how we are improving the excellence in our research at the university. So it is a pleasure really to acknowledge the colleagues, some of whom are being re-rated, some of whom are being newly rated. And I'm going to call them. Please do come up and receive your certificates. We are starting with Professor Patrick Osode. Sorry. Professor Patrick Osode has been C2 rated. Is Professor Tendai Chimcheka, who has been Y2 rated. The next recipient is none other than Professor Rungani, who's been Y2 rated. Our next recipient is Dr. Mike Ojemaye, who has been Y2 rated. Dr. Ojemaye? Okay, since you received, okay. Prof. Oko is volunteering. Just to make clear, that's not Dr. Ojemaye. That's Prof. Oko. He's receiving on behalf of. Our next recipient is Dr. Mtunzi Mndela, who has been Y2 rated. Our next recipient is Professor Mariana Olofsson, who is C3 rated. Our next recipient is Prof. Olin Schiller with a C2 rating. recipient is Prof. Willie Chinyamurindi with a C2 rating. Our next recipient is Prof. Opeoluwa Oyedeji. We have Prof. Oche Odu being celebrated. But we're moving on to. I'd like to invite the DVC and the VC to launch this year's research report. I want to say that it is really, really a pleasure to see this report, which has become part of the university. Just 3 years ago we started, and now it is part of the brick and mortar of the institution. It's fantastic to see, and I just want to welcome both of you to launch the report.
Thank you very much, Professor Mate, and good evening once again. This is yet another project, or collective project, that showcases the research outputs of the university for the year 2024. And it's always a proud moment for me to stand here and wave this, because it's other people's work, but I stand here kind of basking in the limelight. And it's thanks to, give them a round of applause, all of them. And so, in what has become an annual, a proud annual event, we're now launching the 2024 research report of the university. And I just want to say that you must remember to think about this alongside the teaching and learning report that we launched earlier this semester. So we're walking on both feet. We did Teaching and Learning Awards, Teaching and Learning Report, which was an excellent kind of showcase of our teaching learning kind of activities as a university. Now today, this is the crowning moment that recognizes research productivity, research endeavors by colleagues, staff members, and postdocs, and even postgraduate students of the university. It's all here, these pages. So I'm going to step aside, and then Dr. Taule Mjimba is then going to do the magic. Wait for the magic, and I suppose I can go and sit down straight after this, and then she'll do the thing. You want, okay, you want us to take a picture first before I go down.
Okay.
Okay? You're going to smile. We're good? Okay, thank you very much.
So the same report is also available electronically, and as we normally do, you know, we started to rise the levels 2 years ago when we also had this version, which will be shared across the board. And as usual, you just do the magic, you just click, then it takes you to the next page. Do that. Yeah, I like this page. It just gives, you know, yeah, I love it. And then the other pages will be the articles from all the faculties, from research institutes and centers, some, and also researchers who wrote and contributed towards this research report. And of course, research niche areas are also very much part of this report. At the very end, as it has become the culture, we are having research outputs of different people, you researchers, as well as our postdoctoral fellows and postgraduate students. So you'll see that at the very end. So this will be shared throughout the university, even with our external stakeholders. And I think now this is the moment to share the physical one with the guests of the Vice-Chancellor. Thank you very much. Done.
While the reports are being handed out, I just want to say I might just get invited again when the university is stuck because I finished on time. I'd like to invite the DVC institutional support to come and give the vote of thanks, after which we will be served our dinner. So Dr. Hare is going to be the last person to speak. So I'd like at this point then to wish you all a lovely evening and a fantastic year of productivity until we meet again for another event like this next year.
Good evening. I'm looking at the menu here. It's quite an appetizing menu. And then I look at the program and I see the vote of thanks is just before the dinner. So which means that people are going to want us to rush, you know, so that they can get to the dinner. But I just need you to take a moment and pause, because this kind of celebration, you know, comes once a year, and we do have to pause and try to take it in. You know, and in the nature of thanking the work, people for the work that they've been doing, you need to reflect, you know, on that work, you know, and the reflections that we need to make and show gratitude for is to understand, you know, how long research tends to take. Research is not something which happens pretty quickly, you know, it's a long haul, you know, kind of activity, you know, and it's important for us to therefore thank, you know, the senior researchers in particular, because it's around them that a lot of the inspiration comes, you know, not only for new research ideas, but how the new emerging researchers also begin to see what requires to be done and follow suit, you know. And then we have to thank them, and we have to thank the emerging researchers, because it takes a lot of courage to get into a journey of research. You know, sometimes when you're young, you might think that there are other better things to do and not necessarily research, but research, emerging research, required to be thanked because of the courage. Also, I think it's important for us to recognize the new category of research, because, you know, research traditionally has been, just the traditional type research. Even on the topic that people do, it tends to be very traditional, but people are broadening out now, and therefore to begin to recognize things like creative outputs, to begin to recognize, innovation, to begin to recognize Buddha Award. I think that's quite important because it broadens, the kind of research activity that can take place in university. And of course, once you are becoming an active researcher, what then follows, is the NRF rating. That's another important thing for us to begin to recognize. But what is also particularly important, this year, I don't know whether it has happened before, but then we end up 4 deans that have been recognized as senior researchers. I think that's quite unique, and I think we should recognize and thank them for that as well. But I mean, one has to think about how they managed to do it when they've run a faculty. But I mean, it's amazing that 4 deans, can be honored, for the research that they've actually done. And of course, around that is people who organize. I think we should go back to DVC, RPI, and the research department because it takes a lot to organize and make sure that the research runs. And of course, people that have managed to organize the event tonight, thank you very much. And thanks for the guests, because without you, we will not be able to have such a, magnificent, event, to celebrate the 40th research in 2024. Thank you.